the other half of it too is, you got to protect your own energy as well.
Which I get now.
And sometimes people show up super unicorn, rainbows and sunshines, and it's not real.
That's true.
But Shay's is, she's ultimately
real,
consistent.
You do have people who be like, hey, hi. And they're just as fake
it's blowing smoke.
You fake. It's the kind of I hate.
Right. So
hilarious. That is true. And I think that's what I learned about Philly. What's up? It's Tipping the Scales. I'm Shay Dawson.
I'm Tania Rivers, also known as T.
And I cannot believe I've been waiting to say that in person with my girl T.
Forever.
Yeah. Tippers, we got something special for you.
Yeah.
I brought one of my very best friends, someone who inspires me dearly. Yay. She is the one behind the scenes. She is a business curator.
Another boss.
Okay. She has done so many incredible things in many different industries, from entertainment to sports. This is just a conversation though, because every time we get together and we talk, I literally have to press my phone. I have to put record on because she drops so many gems. And if I say, what'd you say? She'd be like, I don't know. I can't say it again. She's kind of one of those people that you start talking and you jumpstart, and the conversation can go so many ways, and I get so much from it. So my bestie, one of my best friends, Nissa Coates, welcome to Tipping the Scales.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm honored.
Super excited to have you here. And I just heard so much about you. I love to see powerful Black women do amazing things, and for women to just kind of run the gamut and just be powerful forces in this world. So I've heard some wonderful things about you. So I want to sit here and be a girlfriend too, so I can kind of get to know a little bit more about you behind the scenes.
So this episode is more about curating your own life, and curating is the tag word, because you really can create your own life. She is the one who helped me to bring the Shay Dawson experience to life. She's the one who actually coined it. She was observing me every place that we traveled, that we went. She's like, you have something here that you're able to do. You meet people and your relationships go. That's the Shay Dawson experience. And at first, I rejected it a little bit. I'm like, what are you talking about? She used to call me Rainbows and Sunshine.
Rainbows and sunshine.
Wow,
I was thinking more like clouds and thunder.
When you say rainbows and sunshine, like from your own head, like what does that mean when you say that?
When I call you Rainbows, so Shay was like the most bubbly person in the world. Like when she came to Philly, people from Philadelphia are kind of busy, they're abrupt,
we're gritty.
There's a lot of grit
in us.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And polite is not always the top of mind when you think of communicating and meeting a person. And Shay's just like, hey, hi, how you doing? How can I help? I'm here for service. And I'm just like, wow, it's a lot of energy. When you meet Shay, she don't care who you are. She's gonna give you the biggest hug in the world.
So true. Yeah.
And which is remarkable, but at the same time, like, this girl has a lot of energy for someone who's so like mellow, chill. I'm too cool for everything. And so Rainbows and Sunshines for me is like, Shay does not see negative in anything. Even in any challenge or hurdle, she's like,
are you guys talking about me? Look at the look on her face. She's like, who's this person?
We can do this. This is okay. We're gonna push through. It's just like, no, actually, everybody's upset, Shay, and you should be upset too. Like,
spot on. Yeah, I agree.
And that is Rainbows and Sunshine. She doesn't have an off switch, and even when she's moody, there's a bubbly smile and a hug that comes along with it.
I couldn't agree with you more. Like when I'm having a bad day, or if I just need some advice because I'm trying to figure out which direction to go. Like Shay's my go-to person. I call her, and sometimes I'll call her as like snotty nose. And she's like, T,
breathe. Breathe.
Take a deep breath, T.
Yeah.
And then there's times when I'm just excited, but she's like my go-to person because she's just the person that kind of finds light in the dark room, which is not everyone has that skill set. So shout out to you, Boo.
Thanks, Boo. Thank you guys.
Giving you your flowers today.
Both of you. Amazing. Thank you. And anyway, but having friends like these two are the ones that speak life into, people like me who are bubbly. But to my hugging point, that's how I find out frequency. I find out if you're my person or not, depending on how you hug. Which brings me into my next little story about Nissa. When we first met, I gave her a hug and she gave me one of the shittiest hugs that I've ever had.
Wait, what's a shitty hug? I don't even understand how to conceptualize that.
the homie side hug, like, hey girl.
But it's also
that's a shady hug.
No, it's like, I don't know you yet.
It's also like an embrace that it feels icky. Like when you get those kind of hugs, you're like, ugh, right?
Yeah.
So when that tells me a lot about a person, either they've been hurt and they don't like people, they don't like people in their space.
Yeah.
They're not used to being told that they're loved, or there's some kind of like lack of affection that they don't have. And so with Nissa, I was like,
I know she's like, what's this?
I don't think that's
I was on
applicable.
That's not her, but that's the reading I get. So I feel like I need to like dive deeper into like that.
Yeah.
So
but what was it then? What was? I think I should ask you.
Okay.
We gotta hear from you. So what's the deal with your side hugs?
Well,
it's a Philly thing.
I think it's a Philly thing, one, because girls are not.
It's
definitely a Philly thing. It's a Philly thing for sure.
Yeah, women I don't think are super forthcoming with embracing. Hey, nice to meet you. What's up? Like, you know what? I heard dope stuff about you. Let's link. Let's get together. Like, I meet someone. Well, I kind of knew Shay technically via FaceTime for a while now before I actually met her. But you know, I still like for people to at least feel like I'm not all the way in your space yet, because I don't know if I'm gonna be willing to catch your energy fade too.
Fair.
So I gotta make sure that I'm protecting myself, and while I'm actually embracing you, I'm gonna give you that respect, the eye contact, and I'm gonna make you feel welcome no matter what. That's just rule number one in etiquette.
Yeah.
But the other half of it too is, you know, you got to protect your own energy as well.
Which I get now.
And sometimes people show up super unicorn, rainbows and sunshines, and it's not real.
That's true.
But Shay's is, I mean, she's ultimately
real,
consistent.
You do have people who be like, hey, hi. And they're just as fake
it's blowing smoke.
You fake. It's the kind of, I hate.
Right. So
hilarious. That is true. And I think that's what I learned about Philly. Living here for 6 years, I'm like, I get it now. A lot of my Philly friends, at first I didn't get them. I didn't understand, like, why don't they accept me, you know, this Joe energy that I got.
We be like, God, we love Shay, but she's so Joe. She hype. She's so extra. But I'd be like, but you know what, girl, keep that. Don't lose that. Don't let us take that from you. You stay there.
Well, I don't know. So maybe what I'm seeing is different, because I feel like who you were when I first met you was like that. And now you're still very nice and kind, but it's like, Philly you got a little shell on you, like a little turtle. Like you got a little outer shell that you did not have when I first met you.
Yeah, Philly changed me a little bit.
Yeah. How did Philly change you?
Man, just understanding that not everybody deserves all of the love that you have right away. Like it helped me to harness it in a way that everybody doesn't deserve it. Yeah. And so like it gave me a better discernment of who people are and how to deploy energy when necessary.
So I would tell Shay, she needs to manage her expectations with people a little bit better. Because you cannot walk into every room willing to give out all the greatness that you are, because sometimes people have to earn those things. Yeah. And especially in business, you know, business is espionage. Like there's people in there that will infiltrate some stuff and really end up using you as a footstool to whatever else they got going on. And, you know, Shay ends up being on the back burner for it. So one thing in Philly is like, she had to learn that quick going to a major organization that she was working with at the time. Yeah. And I think, you know, there was a little naivete, and the other half of it is you're just a good person. So like, you know, you just lead with being good.
Well, times have changed. She's still a good person, but watch out. You good transition, because you talked about business. And I think that's what intrigued me about you the most, because I have a special place in my heart for people who are entrepreneurs, because I feel better being able to collect a bag that I know I'm going to get consistently. Yes. Every whatever that cycle is, I'm going to get paid this amount. Yep. And that's how I like my bag to be collected. Although deep down inside is this person inside of me that I would love to be an entrepreneur, where I can make my own schedule, do my own thing, and be a boss in my own right. Like that's what's deep down inside, kind of wrapped around a blanket called fear. Yeah. Because you need to really let go of fear when you are an entrepreneur, when you're trying to create your own businesses, because there's going to be failure, there's going to be hard times, there's going to be times where you don't have a bag or you're not getting consistent income. So I would love to just learn more about, when did you discover that you wanted to be an entrepreneur? I think that's a good starting place.
That's a great question. Okay, so I'm gonna give you like the flash one, and then the one that's like, this is me thinking from an adult place in a more practical, rational place. So the first one was a debate between me and my close friend that's my hairdresser. She's been a business owner for 10 years.
Introduce me. I like your bracelet.
And then the other half was she introduced me to a financial broker who I became her strategic planner at the time. She used to help people invest like for life insurance and just figure out how to use financial assets. So we're having a conversation, and I at the time was a director for like a federal contracting company for nonprofit grants. And Dame Dash had this whole thing on the Breakfast Club where he said, "You're not a real boss if someone signed your check." And I'm like,
wow.
And you thought she was a boss at that time?
If you say show up to lunch at 10:45, I can close my office door and be there with you guys. Like I'm a boss. And they're like, no, there's something called unemployment. If he sells a company and says everybody must go, you do too.
Yeah.
And
guess what? That bag look different on unemployment. It ain't the same. It's a small percentage.
So the debate lasted about a good 3 hours. And I was not backing down until I went home. And on my long drive home, I realized they're right. I don't know what my skill was. And I knew what intellectual property was, but I didn't know what it meant to use intellectual property as a business owner and how your mindset is a commodity. And
love that.
You know, some people do hair, some people are artisans, they build, some people cook, some people braid, but my skill set is in my mind. It's my experiences and it's the information that I retain. So I had to be comfortable with the fact that, one, I'm not a boss. I'm a really good paid employee, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with employees.
And there's nothing wrong with being a good, you said a good, high paid employee. It's not wrong
for
with that
my
either.
age. I was 26, 25, turned 26 at the time. And that's like the first time I was like, wow, my friends really are self-employed or business owners. And I was like, I'm not. I signed a W-2 at the end of the day. Like I pay fringe and I pay taxes, like, and it comes out first. So once I interpreted that I'm not a boss, and when you think about being a boss in that aspect, no, I'm not truly a boss. And then the next step was like, well, how do I become one? Because I can't braid. I'm not licensed to like give people financial advice, but I know how to procure grants. I know how to brand. I know how to design. I know a lot of things. And I end up over giving skills in the workplace that aren't in my job description. But if I see a problem or a pain point, I immediately go in the wheelhouse of skills.
Yeah.
And so I started realizing, like, people will say, well, how do I do this? And I'll just give free information. And I started realizing after a few conferences, like consulting, that is, most people in my industry would do that as a thing to do as when you retire. Yeah. You're over the 9 to 5, the hustle and the bustle. I'll just consult for like 20 hours a month. It keeps me fresh, keeps me like alive.
Yeah.
So I said, well, I can consult and just consult. So I just part-time did it. And eventually I was like, maybe I'll consider this as a full-time thing. But I was like too chicken to do it. Yep. Way too chicken to do it. And I'm like, this check comes every 2 weeks.
Exactly.
And I got bills and I got family. So it wasn't until my mom got sick. And she ended up having to retire early. She got injured really bad. And
I'm sorry to hear that.
So I said, I need to take a break from work. So in that absence, I said, I'm going to try this entrepreneur thing, or AKA self-employed.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs take vast amount of risk. And everybody wants to call themselves an entrepreneur. If you're not taking vast amount of risk financially, not just, making the plunge, but literally to earn lots of money with a business plan and things like that, you're really just self-employed. If you trade time for money, it's really self-employment.
Wow.
So a lot of people don't want to believe that.
There's a gem. You said she would be dropping the gems.
They come.
So I'm okay with being self-employed.
Yeah.
Because consulting is my time for money. It's just at my value.
Yeah.
If you see my value, then run me my check. But
run her that check.
Run it.
But and the other half too is like, if I stop giving my information, my money doesn't keep going.
Yeah.
I don't earn. So entrepreneurs, they typically make money when they're done the task. They build something up and it can operate solely without them.
Right.
And that's the amount of risk they take to be entrepreneurs. So majority of people need to learn the difference between self-employed and entrepreneurship.
And thank you for that coaching there, because yes, that is definitely something that now when I see other people with entrepreneur, I'm going to dig into more of like, okay, not that I'm digging into people's business, but when people come to you and say, oh, I'm this, I'm that, then you have to like do your research. And that is kind of something that will help delineate to like who they are and what they're doing.
Absolutely. Because when you think about vetting people, if they're misusing terms in industry, it's kind of like,
it speaks to,
should we work with them?
Yes.
Are they capable?
Yeah.
Are they for me in business? And how much can they contribute if they're misusing terms for the sake of commodity or coolness? Because there's a social equity that like everybody builds up brand first. There's no substance. There's no foundation.
Sure.
So like when people were, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. How much do you make a month? What do your taxes look like?
Yeah.
And not saying that money is the only thing that makes you an entrepreneur, but you have to make something that makes sense. And the first thing is first, terminology. Key terms, like don't misuse them or abuse them.
Oh,
so
just got schooled right there.
Yeah. I think too that many people say they want to be an entrepreneur because, you know, they may want the flexibility of having their own schedule. And like you said, want to be their own boss. And I think they don't understand the grind that it takes to be an entrepreneur. It's a real hustle. And we talk about having that grit. You need to be real gritty to be an entrepreneur. I think that's a key competency in being an entrepreneur is that grit.
Yeah.
So when you think about your journey to entrepreneurship, what are some things that you had to do to, you know, talk about having that gut to sustain that grind? What are some of the things you had to do?
I also think she's saying she's self-employed versus an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Okay. So
self-employed.
So I think that's why I was saying she schooled us, because that is not entrepreneurship. It's self-employment.
Self-employment. Okay.
Now it becomes
help me out there, because I'm still a little confused. I think people maybe too.
So I will say this too. There's controversy and conversation and everything. So some people may agree and some people may disagree. But so if I was to scale myself and my company's brand, because I'm one sole member,
and your company is Capital Grind, for those who don't know.
That's one person, me. If I was to scale it and say, for instance, I hired your production team.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to show up to work every day because the production team, I've procured business for the production team to do things.
Okay.
And now I can remove myself and money is working within the business.
Okay.
That's entrepreneurship. That's business 101.
Okay.
But self-employed people is you eat what you kill.
Oh my gosh. My boyfriend says that all the time. He's a barber. He has a barbershop, and he said,
he is a self-employed individual. He's not a business.
Oh my God.
But now this is
he says
this
that
gives you
all
context.
the time.
But
this gives you context.
The great thing,
what I don't eat, what I don't kill, I don't eat.
Right. So that means he has to show up every day and he has to be consistent. He has to have the grit and the tenacity. He has to build a book. He has to build trust with his consumer base. Yeah. People have to feel like I'm not just going to come once, but I'm going to be a returning customer with your boyfriend. Now, the difference is the man who owns the shop he works in, he's the entrepreneur because he doesn't have to show up to work every day.
Lord. Say that again.
Say
that again. The man who owns
the barbershop is the entrepreneur. He took a vast amount of risk to create a space where all the people who are passionate about cutting hair can come cut hair, and he pays the property tax if he owns the building, or the rent, the electric, the insurance to make sure.
Can you be both?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because when I pick, let's stay with your scenario with the barbershop, this helps me out big time. Before you said that, I was like, I'm confused as shit. I wonder if anyone else is confused like me. So, okay, clear, check, got it. So if we stick to this barbershop theme, so he doesn't work in someone else's barbershop. He has his own, but he's the sole person in his barbershop. So if he doesn't show up,
it's closed.
So he could be
closed for business,
self-employed and an entrepreneur at the same time. Yeah,
correct.
Okay,
but now the difference,
that brain on her is good. Oh yeah.
So he pivots into entrepreneurship the second he opens up chair 1, chair 2, chair 3, and he shuts his chair down. He can still eat what he kills, but that's just the icing on top. Like the lights now, the business now, the other barbers are keeping the overhead, the lights, the rent, the insurances, the TV, the electric, the water running, the supplies. The barbers and the chairs, that's working capital. So that's what makes it a business. And that's what makes entrepreneurs. They're taking all that risk and hoping that they have created something of substance, of value that people want to work within or be a part of, or you built an ecosystem. So you have to have a tribe of people as well.
Okay, Shay. Shay here. What we doing?
Told you she's good. She's my secret weapon. Well, first of all, I stole her. She's my fiance's best friend.
Bye, feast. Not anymore, boo.
When I came into his world in Philadelphia, I stole her away. Well, she stole me, I stole her, and then so he's kind of like the side piece right now.
You're the side John. Sorry, so know your role.
But she literally is amazing. And so, talk about some of the risks that you may have taken.
Oh yeah.
For self-employment, just for anyone else thinking about that.
So I guess risk number one is trusting yourself. Like you have to believe, that you can go in, because people don't think about in consulting, it's a sales process. Yeah. You know, you have to be comfortable with no's and actually having your stuff in a row, because you're competing with people who operate in agency spaces all day long. So what makes you special as an individual versus me working with an agency? The differences might be the retainer and what the fee is. Okay. Or it could be literally because of what you bring value in. Are you marketing yourself well? And what are your results? Your case studies, or you have to be able to produce proof of concept.
Yeah.
So once I know I have proof of concept, so sometimes I would probably not really reach my full, what I think I'm worth monetarily, to be able to show people what I can produce. And that's the biggest risk is, can you believe in that process for a long enough time in order to, stack yourself up to that value that you believe that you are truly contributing?
Yes. Wow. I mean, it gives me some hope, because maybe his wheels is turning. No, I'm really turning. Listen, you could probably see.
Well, here's your consultant right here to help you get that out. Yeah.
But I think one of the things too that you have to do, especially when you think about being self-employed, is how do you differentiate yourself from the rest so that someone says, okay, I want to go eat your cookies, not from the cookies across the street. Like yours is better. What do you do to keep yourself relevant? Because I feel like that business, it evolves and you have to keep yourself relevant. So what do you do to
But she also doesn't have a marketing team. So everything she's ever done has been word of mouth. She's not out here advertising.
I really was very lucky.
So
with referrals.
I'm saying that to say it's probably going to feed into where she's going to go.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, so the truth is, yes. This is not one size fits all. So I don't want anybody to take what my experiences was and say, well, that's unrealistic, Nissa, and it's not true. That's not how you retain business. But yes, I got lucky because I did pivot with agencies I already were working with within my industry. And I knew that most nonprofits are very mission driven. Yeah. They don't know how to speak to their audience. So the biggest pain point for nonprofits, even though we know how to get them grants, they know how to service people, they don't know how to market and get more money or unrestricted funding. So I knew, okay, I can use my creative juices to help them be able to speak to audiences that don't know they exist and that would be willing to donate to them if they had visibility. They have better, stronger social media, better marketing to their shareholders. How you talk to a participant is way different than how you're going to talk to someone who's potentially funding you. So,
do you have a card? Or
I don't use business cards either.
That's what I'm saying.
How can someone get in touch with you?
You just have to know. It's if you know, you know. I mean, obviously, if you're watching
but I'm talking about for someone who's listening or watching, and they say, you know what, she sounds good, and I want to tap into some of that goodness. How do they go about doing that?
So I don't like coaching.
Okay.
I love it. Start with the things that you don't do and don't like. It's amazing.
Because everyone's a social media guru. And I feel that's when you talk about differentiate, when you separate yourself from competition, I don't want to live in the space of I'm going to just give you a bunch of key terms you can Google for free. I'm going to show you where Google is. Go find them. And that's free. You shouldn't have to pay for stuff that already exists in the internet.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And the other half of it too is, if I stay within my ecosystem, Shay knows me. Shay might refer me. Nafis, fiance, he knows tons of people. Everybody says, "Oh, have you met Nissa? Have you worked with Nissa? She works with such and such, or she was a part of this campaign." And then people will just be like, "Oh, because of word of mouth, there's a authority in the referral." that a lot of people overlook. And if your service delivery, your follow-up, and your constant communication with those people are very high, you're never out of sight and out of mind of people that you've helped. And mind you, my key thing is help the pain points. Don't give people what they don't need, and don't try to reinvent what's not broken.
Oh.
So those things are really important for me, at least.
Gems
yes, honey.
on gems. Yes.
Yes.
But also another point there is relationships, right? Relationships. So we're getting close to time, but I wanted to also talk about who are some of the people that you've worked with. Nissa has worked with so many talented people that are super influential. And I just wanted to touch on that to just talk about her wide array of skills and abilities.
Oh, goodness. I'm not a name dropper.
Okay, like a few, just a few.
I'll name companies I've worked with.
Oh, companies. Yeah, that works too.
Puma, Foot Locker, by way of U76ers.
Yes.
I've worked with Afrotech, Wallow 267. I was a part of the brand management for the Starbucks situation, the young men that went through the implicit bias experience in the local Starbucks. I was the business manager to facilitating the circumstance with the corporate company. So I was a part of those things as well. So not everything I do is
very
always
legit to me.
I try to I've really garner myself on the people I work with, their privacy. So I really don't, if I keep myself in that referral space, I don't have to go out and brag about who I've worked with.
Yeah.
So, and I like to
Love that.
I don't want to oversell, because I can do what I did for X person with you. I don't want you to have that unrealistic expectation, because what came along with their process with me is something totally different. And people think, oh, well, you could just use your contacts to make me lit. That's a lie. And that's a false expectation. I don't like those type of things.
Wow. What inspires you? Because you inspire me.
Just Olivia Pope over here.
Spend this little time with us. Like, what inspires you?
Good company. People that really believe in you. I read a lot. So Malcolm Gladwell is one of my favorite authors.
What's the last book you read?
Asking Is Given by Esther Hicks.
Okay.
I love that.
Love. Okay.
Yeah, it's an amazing book. You should read it. And I read anything Marianne Williamson.
Okay.
So
nice. Is there any? Sorry,
I was going to say, what are some things, or what is one thing that people don't know about you that you want them to take away if they're watching this their first time interacting with you?
That's a good question.
Come say hi. Walk up to me. Don't assume anything. There's nothing pretentious about me. Just say hi. If you give me the time, or if you take the time to write me something on social media, or if you have a question and you're really looking for results, just don't ever hesitate. You never know, hey, I have this going on. This is what I'm trying to do. Can you help me? 9 times out of 10, that sincerity will I'll give you my attention, honestly.
And I guess our last question is, what do you have to say to someone who they're listening to this episode and say, you know what? I love what she's saying. I want to be able to be self-employed. I'm going to, quit my job today. But I'm a little fearful. Because what's your advice?
What do I say to that?
Yeah, for the fear.
For the fear?
Yeah.
Don't quit your job right away.
Okay.
You need to have an exit strategy.
Okay.
And that exit strategy should feel like 6 months to a year. And the first thing is, make sure you have 6 months to a year of your income saved. And then after that, don't be afraid to work a 9 to 5 and a 5 to 9.
Ooh.
You need to have 2 jobs. And
there's another gym. Yeah.
So I think those things are really important. Fear, most people don't need to take the plunge and quit their job. That's dramatic, and that's what they tell you on TV.
Say that for the TV.
And on YouTube.
Yeah, and on YouTube. Yeah, that's the cliche motivational speaker thing. That's not true. Be comfortable with the fact that I can have 2 jobs. Most people have 2 jobs. They're gig workers. It's a gig economy.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? So nurture your passion the same way you nurture that paycheck and you get up at 7 a.m. to go to work every day.
Yeah.
Just make sure you bring that same energy to your passion by giving it the hours that are necessary, because it takes 10,000 hours to make you an expert at one thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
well, tippers, I don't even know. I think that's like a mic drop. I would drop it, but I don't want to break it because I always breaking shit.
We don't know.
I don't want to break the microphone, but it was such a pleasure having you on. And I think for those of you who listen to this episode, go back and listen to it again.
Yeah.
Because
notes.
when you listen to it the first time, all those gems are not going to just settle in.
It's like Jay-Z. It's like they're going to have to experience it to be
it's like your favorite song.
About.
You keep listening to it a couple times and you remember
Right.
the lyrics. Like
Right.
this is something that you want to remember
Bars.
and kind of take in.
Bars.
Okay. So make sure you listen to it a few times. And tippers, look, we appreciate you. We love you. We just really thank you for the support. So please continue to listen to Tipping the Scales wherever you get your podcast, wherever you listen to your podcast, and check us out. Okay.
Thanks for having me.
Bye.